Hello and welcome to Eastern Horizon. This is Malik Ayub Sambul, and Islamabad is all set for such a mega dialogue and peace talks between Iran and the United States. So I have joined from Tehran, Associate Professor Foad Izadi. He is a faculty of the World Studies of Tehran University. Thank you very much, Professor Foad Izadi, for joining me from Tehran.
Thank you for having me.
So let me know, that how much you are optimistic about these Islamabad talks, and do you think that any major breakthrough is expected from these talks?
You know, Iran was attacked in the middle of negotiations two times. In June, when Iran was first attacked, Iran was in the middle of negotiations. Again, in February, the same thing happened. So when the United States talks about negotiating with Iran, generally people here are worried that more attacks will come because of the history, because of the experience. We are dealing with Netanyahu. He is an indicted war criminal, and Trump that has attacked Iran illegally. The hope is that Trump realizes that he has entered a very serious problem. This is a big policy failure. Attacking Iran was not supposed to happen. The hope is that he realizes that he needs to get out and go and do other things. Maybe he wants to take over Greenland or Canada or do other things, declare victory and leave Iran alone. And Iranians are generous enough to provide him with another opportunity to negotiate. The first time he called the attacks on Iran midnight hammer. He took the hammer, he smashed the negotiating table. The second time Iran was generous to provide him with a negotiating table. Again, he attacked. This is the third time Iran is providing a negotiating table to Trump. We have to wait and see whether he wants to destroy the table this time or he's actually learned some lessons from the past.
So, according to White House, J.D. Vance with some other delegates are heading towards Islamabad, and but I think that still there is not any confirmation that the Iranian delegation has left for Islamabad. So, do you think that is there any delay, or the Iranians are looking for something else?
You know, if you look at the Pakistani Prime Minister's statement, the first statement about the ceasefire, it explicitly said that ceasefire includes Lebanon. The word Lebanon is in that statement. And then what happened? Then Netanyahu attacked Lebanon, killed more than 300 civilians, more than 1,000 people injured. This is how Israelis understand ceasefire. This is what they did in Gaza. Gaza has been under ceasefire for a number of months, and they have killed more than 1,000 people after the ceasefire. So the way Israelis define ceasefire is that we can continue to shoot while there is ceasefire. Iran is not interested in that. So what Iran has said is that the shooting at Lebanon should stop. And Iran will not go until Iran realizes that that issue is resolved. This was part of the original agreement. How do we know? It's written in the Pakistani Prime Minister's statement. Lebanon is specifically addressed. So if Netanyahu stops shooting at Lebanon, Iranian delegation will go. If he continues to shoot at Lebanon, Iranian delegation will not go.
So, Iranian speaker, who is also the heading, that the chief negotiator, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, I think he also said that Israel has already violated this ceasefire agreement, because he mentioned the 3 points that that Israel has violated. So, how you see this statement, and that what next after this statement by Iranian speaker?
The statement is clear. Israelis need to stop shooting at Lebanon. And if they don't, Netanyahu yesterday said that the war in Lebanon will continue. He will continue his war against Lebanon. If he wants to maintain that position, Iranian delegation will not go.
So, I mean that how you think that the U.S. action in this, because if U.S. want this peace talks, I mean how much Israel has influence on the United States, and how much U.S. can have control on Israel? Do you think that is there they are on the same page, or they have cast some differences between Washington and Tel Aviv?
You know, you have read the resignation letter of Joseph Kent. He was this high-ranking Trump administration official, the director of counterterrorism at the White House. And this is what he said, that this war is due to the Israeli lobby and Israeli influence in United States. Israelis have a lot of influence in the United States. We have had Netanyahu wanting to attack Iran for many years. Trump was the first president that actually provided American soldiers for that attack. So far, Israelis are controlling what the US does. And this would be a good test whether Trump can get Netanyahu to stop firing at Lebanon. If he can do that, then you can conclude that United States has taken its foreign policy objectives away from Israel, and it's actually doing its own foreign policy. If Trump cannot get Netanyahu to stop fighting at Lebanon, it means Israelis still control US foreign policy in the Middle East. And negotiating with the United States would be fruitless because negotiating with Netanyahu would be fruitless.
So you mentioned that if Israel is not stop bombing on Lebanon, Irani delegation will not come to Islamabad.
No.
So is there any negotiation or guarantees are going on between I mean Lebanon and Israel that Israel should stop this? And so is there any development can be expected in next couple of hours?
Lebanese government is the victim here. Lebanese people are the victims. And yes, they have asked Israel to stop attacking Lebanon. But instead of following that request, they continue their illegal attacks in Lebanon. You know, Lebanon is a very small country. When you send 50 fighter jets and kill more than 300 people in a matter of minutes, you know, that's a huge number for a small country. Yes, Lebanon doesn't want to be attacked by Israel, but Israel is are on a rampage. They continue to engage in these type of illegal attacks.
So let's suppose that this thing happened and the Irani delegation heads towards Islamabad. So what do you think that the expected Islamabad declaration mean that how much do you think that that could bring peace and the ceasefire between Iran, United States, and Israel? So do you think that Islamabad declaration will have any weightage?
Yes, if the other side realizes that they should stop this failed policy against Iran. You know, Iran was not interested in this war. We had the Omani foreign minister going to Washington. I don't know if you saw his interview with the American television, CBS News. He said an agreement is available within 24 hours, and Trump attacked Iran shortly after that interview. They wanted to change Iran's government, and it's understandable that you don't enter a political solution with a government that you want to change. Trump said that he thought the war would be over in 3 days, and it's more than 40 days. He has not been able to change Iran's government. He has united Iranians more than any Iranian politician could ever do. We have millions of people coming to the streets every night. This is what Netanyahu asked Iranians to do, come to the streets in millions. They are coming, but they are shouting against Trump and Netanyahu. And the hope that Iranians have is that Trump realizes that this was a bad policy choice, and he would stop. He would stop. If he realizes that, then you can have good results out of Islamabad talks. If he is doing another deception operation, because the last two times Iran was talking to the US, they were actually planning for war. Talks were just deception operations. If he's just taking a rest, and this is what he's tweeting about, he's saying that the American soldiers are taking a rest. If he's just interested in a pause so he can attack Iran forcefully again, then that is going to result in Islamabad being a big failure.
How you see China's role in these peace talks? Where you see China stand and all these peaceful and backdoor channel diplomacy?
China has been very helpful. This mayhem that the US government has created in the world, you compare that with the behavior of the Chinese government. The Chinese government acting like normal government, civilized people. They realized that one objective of the attacks on Iran is to create a hegemony for the United States in the Persian Gulf. China gets a good portion of its oil and gas from the Persian Gulf, and they want to use that oil and gas as leverage against China. This is not my analysis. This is what Lindsey Graham, the US Senator, said the other day, that once they're done with Iran, they will have leverage against China as well. I think the Chinese government realizes that. And it's not just against China. Any independent government that would object to some US policy will be forced to change that policy with the leverage that the US has on that independent government. So Trump doesn't like BRICS. Trump doesn't like powerful countries. They can use the leverage of the resources in the Persian Gulf to put pressure on independent governments, not just China, anywhere in the world. And Chinese government realizes that. China correctly vetoed a Bahraini sponsored UN resolution the other day with good reasons. The resolution was blaming Iran for the war, which is very strange because it was Iran that was attacked. It was illegal. If a country wants to attack another country, they need to go to the UN Security Council, put that country under Article 43 of Chapter 7 of the UN resolution, then they can attack. Israel didn't do that. The United States didn't do that. And to blame Iran for the war is foolish. So China and Russia vetoed that resolution. So China understands that if Trump is able to get away with its mayhem in Iran, then any and all independent governments in the world would be Trump's targets next. This is what happened with Venezuela. Trump thought that he had success in Venezuela, then he attacked Iran. If he is successful in Iran, then he will cause difficulties for other countries.
Thank you very much, Foad Izadi. I really appreciate your insight, first-hand information that you provided me. Thank you so much for your analysis.
Thank you for having me.